Hey guys, so this video is probably a little different because this one's going to be a little bit more personal to me, I think. Lauren and I recorded a podcast episode the other day where we talked about what this experience of buying half of Create and Go has been like for me. And the podcast was actually a lot of fun. So much so that I actually had a different video planned for this week, but I decided to just kind of record this one just from the hip because it got me reflecting about some of the lessons I've learned along the way and some of the things that I wish I had known from the start when I started blogging. So this one's not a big fancy planned out one. This is just some things that I wish I knew that hopefully could help you guys. So number one. We live in a time of catastrophic thinking, and you're probably doing it now. I know I was. Catastrophic thinking is when your perspective is distorted into thinking that you're doing much worse than you actually are, where you most likely assume the worst case scenario because you're scared of the unknown and you're too impatient to wait to find out what's going to happen. So you self-sabotage and you give into the resistance to doing the thing at all. Which is at least what I did when I started. But eventually my blog started to see results, and I realized that it wasn't that I sucked all that time, that I was basically bullying myself into believing I was never going to make it as a blogger or an online business. I simply just hadn't given myself enough time to see the results yet. You think, I posted 20 articles and it hasn't brought in any traffic, so I must not be doing the work right. And it's like, no, you just have to keep going. It's not that you're doing things wrong. You just haven't given it enough time. You know, I think I saw Alex Hormozy the other day really sum this up well. He said, you severely underestimate the volume required to achieve success. And this really couldn't be more true. You just have to keep going sometimes. You haven't given the thing that you're doing a chance to work out. You can't judge yourself off your 5th article or even your 20th article. Give yourself time. Create 50 or 100 pieces of content. I mean, 200 if you can stick to it that long. The longer you continue creating, the more your odds of success increase little by little every single day. But the moment that you stop and that you quit, those odds of success start to plummet rapidly. So you want to stay the course because you might surprise yourself. So number 2, remember to celebrate your small wins. I remember I really shrugged off the first $150 I made from my blog because I was already earning so much freelancing and my other blogging friends were making 6 figures a month. I really let the comparison game spoil that experience for me, and I failed to realize how important that small victory was until much later. You really have to enjoy those small victories and those milestones along the way because not everyone has been there. So just a quick one. Number 3, doing is just as important as learning. Now look, I'm not saying you shouldn't learn and spend time educating yourself because you 100% should, but in the beginning especially, you don't want to get swept up into how exciting knowledge is and forget about action. I put off things all the time in the beginning of my business because I would get sucked into learning everything about a thing before doing it. Then I would go to do the thing and realize I'm still a beginner at this thing. You know, it's like I have this thing that I think of all the time that reminds me of this, where me and my friends used to mess with each other all the time in school. And I had this friend in middle school who was kind of one of the last friends in our group who hadn't kissed a girl yet. He was really shy. And as we got older, the more nervous he got because everyone else had already had their first kiss, you know, and we're in high school. So he started looking up these YouTube videos on how to kiss and reading these articles and stuff. And I was just like, what is going on? And one day I finally had enough of it. And I just told him, You're never going to learn your way into your first kiss. You have to actually go out and put yourself in the position to be kissed. Go flirt with a girl. Tell someone they're pretty. Do something nice for someone, or tell your crush you like them. Then maybe you'll be in the position to get kissed, right? And funny enough, 2 weeks later, he had his first kiss and got his first girlfriend. And it always reminds me that theory is great. You should strive to understand things well, but theory only matters so much. Reality and theory clash a lot more than you think once you actually get started on the thing. So don't be a course collector or a knowledge hoarder. Get started. The longer you put the things that you want to do off, it doesn't make you any more prepared. I promise. Take it from someone who had to find that out the hard way. You eventually have to get started, and then you will learn, and those things will click. So number 4, it isn't the thing itself that's difficult, it's your resistance to doing the thing that makes it difficult. Blogging isn't hard, guys. And I know that sounds like, privileged or whatever, but if you're in our courses, or if you've watched our videos or read our guides, then the truth is you know how to do it too. You just don't believe that you can. You always think you're missing one piece of content. You think that there's some secret that you don't know, but there isn't. The secret is no one else wants to do the work either. So you just have to be the one who will. For me, in the beginning, it was a realization that I was giving into the resistance to how painful doing the work was, right? It's miserable. You work all day and then you have to work on this side business, and it's just like you're not making any money, and it's miserable, right? And it sounds like I'm just blaming you for not doing the work, but hear me out. There's this really incredible book called 4,000 Weeks that I really recommend about time management. And there's this section in there where he references a monk who's doing these really awful ice baths. And the monk is doing everything he can to try and think of anything else besides how bad these ice baths are. And he's thinking that not thinking about it will make it better. But guess what? It doesn't. They still suck. And it isn't until he realizes that the only way to make them suck less is to focus on the ice bath itself, to be as present as possible for it, realizing that it isn't the ice bath that is causing him the distress, but it's his resistance to the ice bath. You guys, you do hard things every day, I'm sure. A lot of you are parents, you're hard workers. Some of you are blue collar workers, high achievers, students, and a lot of you're really motivated. You can do this. You just have to focus and realize that focus is a skill. You can train yourself in it. It's like meditation, being present, bringing yourself back to what you're doing and being as fully engrossed in that activity as you can. And every time you want to think about how miserable it is or how much it sucks, just bring yourself back and focus on it. It's not the activity that is difficult. It's your resistance to doing the activity that makes it suck. Be present and focus. Number 5. Collaboration over competition every time. Look, I know a lot of successful bloggers who make $5,000, $10,000 a month, and they did it on their own, and kudos to them. They did the thing, and I can't argue with that. But I also know a lot of successful bloggers who make $100,000 a month or have made millions of dollars. And guess what? Almost none of them did it on their own. They worked with other creators, or they had a business partner, or they collaborated with other people in the community in some way along the journey. It's what is it? That old African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. Fast can be good. You can get to that 5K a month mark really quickly. And if it's just you can do it exactly the way that you want to do it. But the reality is, if you want to get far, if you want to make the big money, you're gonna have to collaborate with others at some point. It's okay to not be the lone wolf who did it all on their own. That mindset, that's all ego, and it's overrated anyways. I wouldn't be here without Alex and Lauren and Kellen and Demery and Dylan and Josh and John, Megan, Ben, Jeff, Haley, Carolyn, and a list of people that could go on forever that you don't know. I absolutely did not do this on my own. Use the community that's around you. Collaborate with other people. There's no shame in it. Teach everything that you know and let others teach you what they know. And when you open yourself up in that way, opportunities will find you and you will grow. So number 6, pivot, and then pivot again. Look, guys, if I could teach you one thing, it's that it doesn't have to just be blogging. I pivoted from blogging early and made way more money than I ever could have imagined. I started by blogging, then freelancing, then blogging, then buying blogs, then consulting, then buying more blogs, and so on. But you have to start somewhere and then let that negotiation begin. What you envision in your mind at the start, that's not going to be what you end up with. And the sooner you let go of that and accept that the detours along the way is what it's all about, then you'll find your way and you'll create something for you and you'll just let it flow. It'll be effortless. Blogging is such an incredible place to start because it opens you up to learn so many online skills. So just pick 2 or 3 and go in. Learn marketing and copywriting or storytelling or SEO, email marketing, social media marketing, ads, whatever skills you want to focus on. Learn 2 or 3 of them and put them to use on your blog and go from there. Blogging is not just writing blog posts. It's an entire world of business built around that as a baseline. But you can do it in so many ways. And there's no reason to limit yourself. But if you want to be successful and you want to be a successful business owner or blogger, then you're going to have to pivot with the times and with your business. If I could emphasize one thing, guys, when I was where our students are, when I wasn't making any money, none of this made sense to me, right? It's like all of these things that I just said and all of these things that I'm sharing with you or these lessons, I would just write off and be like, oh, well, he doesn't get it because he has money and he has success and he's done it already, right? He got lucky. And that's the thing, is when you're in that mindset, when you're in that position, you don't believe that you can do it and you don't think that it's possible for you. But if I can do it, if all these other people can do it, then you can too. And there is someone who is unfortunately dumber than you, or someone that is lazier than you, or someone that is, not as good at what you're doing as you are, that is doing it. And that's the truth. You just have to do it and know that you can do it and keep these things in mind along the way. And you might be surprised that this isn't as hard as it looks. It's not some impossible thing that's for the 1%. It's really just as simple as most people just give up.